You've seen this Marshall amp in the last few videos that I've done. You want to know how it sounds. You want to know what I think about it. You want to know what it can do. I'm going to share all of that and more with you today, right here on GearGasms. Hi kids, welcome to GearGasms. I'm your host, Alan Barnes, and this week we've got the Marshall DSL100 head. We've paired that bad boy with a Marshall 1968 cabinet, a match made in heaven. This guy has two channels, and each channel has two voices, so essentially, even though it's called a dual super lead, it kind of has four channels. So this week we're going to be focusing solely on the high gain stuff. We know that's what you want when you buy a Marshall. Next week we're going to do the clean tones and the crunch tones. They're surprisingly good, but this week is going to be all about bringing the rock in the heaviest, most Marshall-esque way that we possibly can. Before I forget, I'm wearing the ultra cliched multiple guitar t-shirts. You've seen a million of these. They all say the same sort of thing. Oh, I got too many guitars. Look at my shirt. Oh, I buy too many guitars. It's kind of boring, but I thought you at least might let me point this out because we are going to throw a fair number of guitars at this amplifier across this two-part series. So I thought this shirt was kind of appropriate. Get right into the playing without any further delay. And as a matter of fact, there's going to be no delay on this video. We're not using any external effects. The signal path is going to be super simple. That microphone against that speaker right there going into my DAW. No EQ, no After Effects, no nada. First, the data. Of course, this is a two-channel amp. It has power and standby. We're running it in the 50-watt mode. I'm keeping all the EQs at noon, to borrow a phrase from my buddy Mark Agnesi. We are not going to use the tone shift knob. We're going to just play with the volume and gain, leave everything else set to noon. But this two-channel amp, it does share an EQ section for both channels. Each channel has its own reverb. The reverb's a little bit weak, but it'll do. It has a resonance and a presence knob. It has a tone shift button in the middle, which kind of gives it a scooped mids, and on lead 2 it sounds a little bit, dare I say, like a Mesa Boogie amp. Getting past the EQ section, each channel has its own volume and gain. Each channel has its own mode. The ultra gain channel has a lead 1 and lead 2 modes. Classic gain channel has a clean and a crunch. It's pretty simple. Input in the front. On the back, of course, there are multiple speaker outs. There is an on and off for the effects loop. Oh, glorious gods of high gain. We're going to be taking one of my favorite guitars in the whole world, the Charvel Dimas. This purple beast, we're going to plug it into the high gain channel of the Marshall and see if we can make that thing sing. Can't wait to hear how that's going to sound. Don't you move a muscle. Why not throw a Strat into the mix? Strats and Marshalls have been friends. They're not always friends, but Jimi Hendrix made it work. So I figure if he can do it, and on occasion Stevie Ray Vaughan can do it, we can take this beast through the Marshall and see just what we Last but not least, again, one of the favorite guitars of mine in the house, my beloved Eddie Van Halen Striped series, Franken Strat. We're going to pump that baby through a Marshall. Oh my gosh, what a classic combination. We're going to do some pseudo Eddie riffs. I'm going to do some wheedly tapping that's going to blow your mind at just how average it is. But concentrate on the sound of the amp and hear the magic that connecting this guitar to that box is going to bring. Well, kids, we've heard every high gain sound imaginable that could come out of this beast. It was a lot of fun. We didn't get a chance to go through everything. If I tried to go through every setting on this amp, dialing in EQs all over the place, presence, resonance, the tone shift, all kinds of combinations, different guitars, different settings, volume up and down. We could have been here for a year playing around with this amp. It would be YouTube's longest video and we'd all be dead. Instead, try to focus on the meat and potatoes. This here amp, you know it's gonna rock. I made sure you got to hear it, you got to see it. It's an absolute value. You should run out and get one. They're made in Vietnam. They're not made in Great Britain, but you can't tell the difference. In summary, absolutely everything you would expect from a legendary Marshall amp at a price that regular folks can afford. I highly recommend that if you got 900 bucks sitting around and you want to get a mind-blowing 100-watt tube screaming beast, go out and get the Marshall DSL100h.